There is an effort in northern Colorado to preserve a ghost town. It's a small town of Dearfield, about 30 miles east of Greeley in Weld County. At the turn of the 19th century, it was a famous African-American settlement. It is now at risk of disappearing. Only on CBS 4 tonight, Sean Boyd shows us the fight to save it.
If you're like most people, you've probably never heard of Dearfield, Colorado. I hadn't either until now, and no wonder. There's not much left of this town on the eastern plains. Once home to some 200 African-American settlers, it is now deserted. But there is a growing effort to keep its history alive.
This originally was called the Dearfield Lodge.
Maybe no one knows the story of Dearfield better than Robert Brunswig and George June.
So there are big plans for this place.
For 30 years, the University of Northern Colorado professors have tried to preserve what's left of a town that was once the most well-known black community in the country, a place African Americans from 35 states came to settle in the early 1900s, buying land, building homes, and farming.
You can see what the dreams and hopes of these people were.
Until the late 1920s, when the Dust Bowl swept it all away. Today, Dearfield is a ghost town, and without funding, its few remaining buildings will collapse. Weld County Commissioner Lori Sane couldn't let that happen.
It's a history and a heritage worth preserving. It's really the American ingenuity. It's the land ownership aspect that these folks fought so hard for.
A former state lawmaker, she turned to friends in the state legislature for help, inviting them here to see the town firsthand. A town that Senator James Coleman says is important not only for its past, but what it models for the future. Its founder, Oliver T. Jackson, a wealthy black businessman who recruited African Americans here because he saw land ownership as a means to economic prosperity.
Our job is to make sure we preserve and have this site, which is great, but our goal is to figure out how we recreate what he did here and have land, have property, have businesses where everybody can come and take advantage of it, but ultimately those dollars are generated and cycle through the black community.
The town ahead of its time in other ways, too. Dearfield's dance hall and churches, June says, drew blacks and whites.
When we think of Dearfield, we also have to think about aspects of integration. We like to have people to come out and see what this successful community was like.
I know that it's going to get the attention that it deserves.
Just to stabilize the buildings out here could cost upwards of $1 million. The hope is now that lawmakers know of the town's existence and significance, they'll kick in some state funding. If you'd like to help out, the American Black West Museum also has a fund set up. In Dearfield, Sean Boyd covering Colorado First.
Who knew there was that much history there, huh?
I love that.
Yeah.